Okay. That's all together. I just need to do a couple things first over here. Well, wait, weird to start this off with. Love the Bonnie falling over scene in the movie. It gets me every time I watch it. Okay, that's set up now. Gotta make this really quiet. That needs to step me on one. There we go. We're gonna move this to over here so it's not. Also, you guys can tell this has tape on it because I still haven't got the clamp fixed because I lost the spring.
Locked away and left inside the dark. Even when you give it hard, you'll feel so alone. For 5 long nights, we're so alone. Forgotten, broken souls, left to dance among the dead.
Okay, so you can hear this, which is good.
Until you walked right through the door and show the way to turn these handbags into flames. A way to set this story straight. And now you'll never be the same. Hellfire, hellfire burning in my brain. I'm searching for a way to exterminate the pain. Just an outlier, outlier, fueled by all this hate. We've waited way too long, think it's time we came to take. Locked away and left inside the dark. Even when you give it hard, you'll feel so alone. For 5 long nights, locked away and left inside your heart. Body, mind, and soul got lost. You'll feel so alone. For 5 long nights.
I probably should mention what I mean by the Bonnie scene. Comics all over in FNAF movie. Okay. Okay. We're just gonna do this. I love it. I love this scene every single time. I don't know why it gets me.
Are you okay?
It's so stupid. I love it.
Say the
Yeah, we're gonna just move on from there. Thank you. Don't care enough.
Drifts away, and all you'll have to show is who you're going to be when time has run out. Let me out my cage, I've had enough, had enough. We've been forgotten, been betrayed, we're down on luck. in my brain. I'm searching for a way to exterminate the pain. Just an outlier.
By the way, this is from Fable, Fabvl. I can't remember who animated this. This just came out, I think, yesterday. Don't quote me on that.
Locked away and left in
That's one way to think about it. I always thought of the intro when he's walking and then the door is opening, not closing. But that's my thought.
even when you give it hard.
I was thinking of having people try to join for this collab, but I gave up halfway through because none of my other ones were working.
You'll feel so alone for 5 long nights. So alone, forgotten, broken souls.
I do like this model. This model is actually really good.
Left to dance among the dirt until you walked right through the door.
By the way, I think this was made before the new set of this was SFM, by the way. The new model came out for the ghosts here because each one has a different hairstyle now, and also I think it has a little bit better graphics now because I've used them for my recent animation.
Walked right through the door and show the way to turn these handbags into flames. A way to set this storage straight. And now you'll never be the same. Hellfire burning in my brain.
I do love that Golden Freddy is mostly the one trying to talk here.
Searching for a way to exterminate the pain. Just an outlier, fueled by all this hate. We've waited way too long, think it's time we came to take back.
Oh yeah, it is Golden Freddy the whole time talking. Right. I love this idea. It's so much better than having all of them talk. I do like the aspect ratio change. You can tell there's definitely a filter on this. That would be obvious because it would look like shit otherwise. I've been using filters a lot more to make mine actually look better and like more in real life, or like it looks more realistic than it would if I didn't have any filters. Because my lighting is shit. I will admit that immediately. My lighting is not good. Especially when you get artifacting like this. But actually, I think that was on purpose. Yeah, but that was artifacting.
Drifts away, and all you'll have to show is who you're going to be when time has run out. Let me out my cage, I've had enough. We've been forgotten.
Oh wait, no. They did use the new model. And obviously you can't really do anything there, but it looks like Cassidy is the only one. Oh, I just want to say this right now to anyone that was saying, "Oh, Garrett is the name of the crying child." No, not even close. I told you guys that beforehand. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's on the one you shouldn't have been killed. Someone made a comment about like, "Oh, this name and this name are equivalent in the books, so Garrett in the movie will be equivalent to this." No, we clearly see who's the one moving. While Cassidy, technically, if we look through Andrew's look through it, Cassidy is the one that can't move that much. It's the crying child or the other spirit that inhabits it that's not vengeful is the one that is doing it. And you could say in this movie, Golden Freddy and the others aren't vengeful at all, because until the ending where they find out who he is, like they do in the original trilogy. So you can't technically base it off of that either. But it's definitely Garrett is not the crying child's name. Like, I'd rather have Ethan be the name than Garrett. Like, yeah, here's the thing. Chica says she's the first, she saw everything. Which is weird to have her do that. But I really need to make a theory video about this. Anyways, I'm pretty sure this is Stitch Wraith, if I remember correctly. Or it's just a Reaper. I don't. I love the slow, like, move to insanity in this. And I do like that. I need to get that model. I do notice that cameras in most of these have, like, even the smallest movements. Oh, that's clever. The whole switching to Golden Freddy thing. Who animated this? I keep forgetting. Just reporting, modeling. Nice job, J-Up and don't even know how to say that. For this animation, it's actually really good. I do. And I love the song Fable. Okay. Bang of 87. That's funny.
Entitled women are some of the most frustrating people on earth, but what happens when they're finally put in their place?
Just to give context to what I'm listening to, this is a channel that's like about police interactions with different types of like people. This one is all about it. It says when entitled women are finally told no. So I just want to give context on that. I'm actually gonna change this because you actually see this is not going well. I think it'd actually be better. I think I'm gonna do the safe room and do what I was gonna do before. Put lighting, because at first I don't know if I'm gonna do my own lighting or not. Depends on how good the lighting in here is, but
By the cops.
I don't think I've done anything to be detained for.
Hey, park the car!
because this is what it looks like. Safe.
starting
the
with
moment.
the case of Brittany
That's what it
Scholler,
looks like.
a young entitled woman who
If you're
thought
wondering why I
murder
have two
issues put her
viewports,
above
also is because of I go with this view, I go into work camera, and I always want to see what's going on in the right. Why is that? Hold on. Not that. Screen capture. Why are you not showing? Okay, screen 2. That's where. Capture cursor. Maybe I just don't see it in my view. Nope, I don't see my cursor at all for some reason. Yeah. Oh well. Oh, the light goes in and out. Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
the law, who didn't react well to cops saying no.
You're assaulting me! Get the out of my fucking face, you loser!
On the evening of December 29th, 2021, homeowners in La Crosse, Wisconsin heard a loud crash just outside the home. When they went to investigate, they saw their car had been rammed into by a young woman driving a red Chevy. The roads were icy and the skies dark, but something is telling the officers that there was something else at play in this strange accident.
I'll let you chat with Officer Lee Baker here.
So one thing I've been doing with these
Nobody's
ghosts
driving it. That's my car.
is just copy this one. Oops.
Car and hit that one and that one.
So who was driving the red car?
I was.
You was?
Wait, hold on.
Talk to you over.
I have an idea. I have an idea. I have an idea. The question is, do I have the child pack still? That's right.
The woman was identified as 27-year-old Brittany Scholler and was easily determined to be the driver at fault in this incident. After all, she rammed into a parked car. Sensing something is off, the cop decides to ask the shake-it-up girl a few questions.
Alright, so where you coming from?
Friend's house.
Friend's house? Alright, what were you doing at your friend's house?
Hanging out.
Hanging out?
Humans.
Have you had anything to drink tonight?
Oh, we got somewhere.
Fortunately, no.
Brittany is claiming she hadn't had anything to drink, but she's not doing a great job of
fast
hiding it.
Fright
The
Sm-
officer noted
oh.
that she had glossy
I almost
eyes,
mixed that up with-
slurred speech, and he could smell alcohol on her. So,
Well, that's not
as
what
you
I
might
need.
expect, the cop asks Brittany to perform a few field sobriety tests. Because of the cold weather, though, he decides to bring her back to the police station and do them there. News she doesn't take well at all.
Alright, so what I want to do is I just want to go back to our station, just run you through some fields, okay? So basically what the fields is, I can kind of smell a little bit of alcohol intoxicants coming from you, okay? I don't want you to do out in the cold, alright? We're gonna go, it's my job. We gotta make smarter decisions when we drive.
I'm sorry. How does missing children turn into that?
Okay?
My little brother died 6 months ago. Which is close.
We gotta record soon, we gotta go to the station, okay? You gotta watch my squad, okay?
What the do you guys need from me?
Well, I can smell some intoxicants coming from you, okay?
Brittany is quickly becoming hysterical and making the sobriety tests essentially pointless. What's interesting is the story about her little brother, and especially how she's trying to use it as an excuse to be let go. Since this is so freshly on her mind, it seems as though this is genuinely something bothering her, and for good reason too. And with all the information we have, it also looks like she's using alcohol to forget her woes and take her mind off things. But all this did was just make things a million times worse.
My brother
I was wondering, is I want to drink
died.
alcohol?
Okay, so look at this accident and tell me if you could have caused some injury to somebody else.
You're right, you're right, you're right.
So we're
You're
gonna
right.
walk to this first squad.
You're right, you're right, you're right. My brother died in a car accident. And I miss him so much. I've already been in jail. Dude, come on. My brother fucking died.
It seems as though Brittany is too drunk to realize that her actions tonight could have been the reason that someone else lost her little brother. What's even sadder is that her brother died by driving drunk himself and crashing with 3 passengers on board, one of whom being Brittany herself. She saw firsthand how dangerous and frankly stupid this crime is, yet decided to do it just 6 months later. Once back at the station, they began the sobriety tests. These take a while, but you really only need to see this part to know how well it went.
What I want you to do is I just want you to follow this finger with your eyes and your eyes only. Do not move your head. Do you understand?
Okay.
Any questions?
No.
Just with your eyes.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Can you open your eyes for me, okay?
Oh, you already think I'm a piece of shit.
But I didn't say that, Brittany.
No, I know that you do. You guys already think I'm a fucking loser.
No. Brittany, I just want right now. I just want to make sure
It
you're
makes
safe
it.
to drive,
It
not
would make it a
hurt
lot
anybody
better,
else
which I'm
injured.
probably gonna use. But the problem is,
Come on, I can do it again. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I was in ballet, bitches, and also tap dance. So fucking tell me about it. My little brother died.
yeah, I
3
see a lot
months
of
ago.
animations in SFM, and I have no idea how they do it. Like, I can probably believe these 2 pictures. This one's a little bit harder to believe. That one's a bit harder. These 2 look like SFM. I've seen those in animations. This one's a bit harder because the eyeball and the nose. Yeah, I think this one has the same issue. Yeah, the nose is a lot like flatter in this one. Anyways, that'd be a cool one to have, but I still need to find human children here. That sounded weird. Don't take that out of context, please. Oh, hey, Orpho.
We're not saying we don't care about that, Brittany.
Well, you know what?
And we can get to talking about that. We just gotta finish these tests, and then we'll get out of here.
The next few minutes are more of the same before the cops rightly decide that Brittany is too drunk to have been driving. But this is just the start of the case. As now she's officially been arrested, she decides to start piling on the charges, making everything worse and being downright strange.
I'm gonna fucking let everybody know you guys fucking me over, you fucking pieces of shit. No, you fucking losers. You know, you guys try to have sex with me, you fucking losers. Yeah, guess what? I have your semen in my
Stop it.
fuck you.
Brittany, you have anything in your pockets? I might stick a poke in her.
What do you want out of my pocket? What do you want out of my pocket?
You got anything in your pockets? I might
What the f*** you got out of my pocket? Aside from your f***ing semen, you
That's
fucking...
not what we gonna do. We're not gonna be kicking, okay?
No!
Do you understand me?
What the hell is this?
Brittany, we understand you're going through a lot. With what
Obviously, that's from Dia de los
You understand
Muertos,
I'm
but
going through a lot. A police officer assaulting me. You're
I don't know why you guys
assaulting
can't see my
me.
cursor. It's really
You're
annoying to
assaulting
me.
What the fuck? What the
Brittany, get your foot in the car.
You're assaulting me.
Brittany, get your foot in the car.
You're assaulting me.
She's now accusing the cops of assault of numerous kinds, as well as kicking the cops and resisting arrest. She is becoming hysterical, and nothing she's doing is helping her case. Take a look at how she acts when she's reminded again that she's under arrest.
The faster we get this process done, the faster we can call your mom.
For what? What have I done wrong?
You're under arrest for OWI.
For what?
For operating while under the influence. Okay? The faster we get this process done, the
Call my mom.
We'll call your mom, Brittany, okay? Brittany, there's just some things.
Your fucking officer's trying to fucking rape me. Are you serious?
It's all been on camera.
Fuck that. Get the fuck out of my fucking face, you piece of fuck.
We're not
Get the
gonna be
fuck out of my
What we gonna do?
face.
We're not gonna be
You.
gonna
Get
be
the fuck out of my fucking face. Get the fuck out of my fucking face, you loser.
The officer's smart by holding her leg.
You piece of shit. Get the
Her behavior didn't change at all for the rest of the case. She remained uncooperative while getting her blood drawn at the
goddamn balloon.
hospital, tried to kick officers and resist back at the station, and the cops even had to remove the chairs from the interview room because she was kicking them around so much. At one point, she even tried escaping the interview room while she was handcuffed.
No, this is not acceptable.
Take a seat.
Dude, get your hands off of me.
We can't have you walking around.
Actually, I'm gonna
Get your
add this
hands
as well.
off of me.
I don't want you to get hurt.
This is
It
not
actually says
acceptable.
illusion disc.
Get your f***ing hands off of me.
9698, you wanna come in here?
Brittany was
A
eventually
literally
thrown
a
into a cell and charged with
4.
felony
That's
battery to an
that's
officer,
always what I
disorderly
want to say.
conduct, operating a vehicle while under the influence, and failure to keep a vehicle under control. Her exact sentence is unknown, but somehow, even with all of this strange behavior, she still didn't manage to get the officers as worked up as this entitled woman did. In June of 2000,
I don't know where they got the Freddy one. The spring bottom one looks pretty good. I wish it had a bit more rip and tear in it, but
During one of these protests in Orlando, an officer noticed a vehicle blocking a lane of traffic with its hazard lights on and decided to pull them over for a chat. This is the strange interaction that
I'm
followed.
still looking.
Get out of the car.
We're just getting to the one that I use.
Seriously? Either get out of the car or you're going to jail.
Why am I getting out of the car?
'Cause
Why
you're
am I
stopped
getting
in the
out of the
middle-
car?
I got it. You're stopped in the middle of the roadway. You're violating a traffic violation.
That is
At this
just-
point, you're being detained. Do you
Excuse me?
I wasn't doing anything besides
I'm not going
driving.
to sit here and argue with you. I'm going to
Okay.
ask you to step out of the car, or we're going to remove you out of the car. Your choice. I'm trying to be nice. I have not been disrespectful. Have I?
No, but I don't think I've done anything to be detained for. Do not reach into my car. Do not reach into my car. Stop. Stop.
Hey, park the car.
Stop. Stop. Stop.
Get out of the car.
Oh my God.
Get out of the car.
Just, Jeez.
Okay. Okay.
Put your hands behind your back.
Okay.
Put your hands behind your back. Get out. Put your hands behind your back.
There was an awful lot of debate around these protests and interactions that we won't be going into, but with the phone recording and the immediate refusal of police orders, it's obvious this girl was acting extremely entitled. The cops recognized this immediately and knew that this conversation never goes anywhere, so decided to quickly put an end to it. The issue is the act of breaking the window did look incredibly violent and obviously got all the other protesters pretty riled up.
Can you put that
I
car?
don't blame him, to be honest. Oh, here's an 8-bit model pack. I've been looking for those after I saw a thing I wanted to do, but never ended up doing it because I couldn't find the pack. And that would have also been useful as well.
We got one detained. And so we need a couple more units for crowd control. County Tag 22, can you start FD, please? Hispanic
I am
female.
bleeding. I need an
Awake and
ambulance.
breathing.
You guys are literally pissing
It's actually not that bad. I think he could use a
I am
little bit better,
bleeding.
but
I need an
for
ambulance.
SFM,
It's gonna be for the 1015.
not that-
We got minor cuts on glass.
right? I forgot he was part of. He was
Stay in the car.
Shaggy in other films. Forgot about that.
What the?
Stay in the car.
I need to spit.
Okay,
I have blood in my mouth. Get away from me, okay? Just step away so I can spit.
waiting for it to crash
Justin!
Alright.
because I don't have it. I forgot to. Yeah, I forgot to close.
Stop.
Anyways, you're gonna continue doing this
Tell my
first.
friend to take
Yes,
my car, please.
I will.
You had to break my window, really?
You rolled my arm up in your window.
Because I felt unsafe.
Well,
You
I'm
guys
sorry.
are killing people
I'm
like me.
asking you.
Well, I'm sorry, my arm was getting stuck in the fucking window.
Your
I
choice.
didn't do shit.
You did not get
I
out of
am
the car.
trying.
You stopped in the middle of the roadway. We asked you to get out of the car.
What the f- is wrong with you? could have taken my eye out.
Or you could have got out of the window, out of the car, none of this would have happened. So you did this to yourself.
The rest
Jeez,
of the
he
stop
looks like
goes
he's saying
pretty much
something.
the same way, but there is a hilarious moment later down the line where the cop explains the difference between being detained and being arrested, which stops her in her tracks immediately.
At most, you would have got a verbal warning and you would have been free to drive off. All you had to do was step out of the car.
If I step out of the car,
Nothing was
that means
gonna happen.
You did not tell me that. You said I am being detained. Step out of the car.
Yes.
Why am I being detained? Why are you reaching into my
You know,
car?
a traffic
I am fearing
stop.
for my life.
A traffic stop means you're being detained. A basic traffic stop. You're not.
I did not know that. You said I am being detained, which is I'm being arrested.
No.
Where
Being
am I going?
detained
I am
and being
fearing for my
arrested are
life.
two different things. For someone that acts like they know so much, simple stuff. Being detained, when the lights and sirens come on, that means you're physically being detained. You're not free to leave. That does not mean you're under arrest. I would have asked for your driver's license, your registration, your proof of insurance. Once everything checked out, you would have been free to drive off.
She obviously wasn't too happy about that one. Eventually, a medic arrived to check her out and observed that she had a few minor cuts across her face and she was taken to a hospital for treatment. Nothing is known about where the case went from here, but it's presumed that any charges against the woman were dropped and she was let go with a warning as mentioned by the cop. At the end of the day, this girl didn't really commit any crimes. She was just behaving badly and not complying with the police. But what happens if you mix that with one of the most despicable crimes you can commit?
Now you seen the kids in the car left.
On the 21st of August 2021, police were called to a blood bank on a sickening call. A passerby had reported 2 children stuck in the car at the height of the Ohio summer.
213 radio. What's the temperature?
You pointed out to me that you seen the kids in the car left. I talked to the little girl. She said she don't know how long she been in here.
Okay.
One is like an infant, probably like 4 or 5. And I think the other one was like 3 or 4.
Okay.
My 3-year-old here was hanging out the car screaming, and then I saw the security guard and I asked him to come outside because this is a serious matter. And I was like, you gotta call the police. This isn't okay.
The cops do what they can to air out the car and keep the kids safe while they wait for their mother to turn up. But while they wait, they get some
This might be the best I can
concerning news
do.
from the nurse.
What's your mom's name?
What is it?
Tamisha.
Tamisha. Yep. She was a new donor too. She's been in here for at least 2 hours. I know.
She's been there for a long period of time.
Yeah, long time.
Like what, 3 or 4 hours?
At least 2.
Yeah, that's the best I'm gonna probably get.
I can find out the start time if that's something you need.
It turns out she'd been in the building for even longer than 2 hours. It's 11:10 now, but she'd been inside since 7:30 that morning, leaving the kids to fend for themselves in the extreme heat of the car for almost 4 hours. When she finally showed up, though, she of course had a very different story to tell.
How long have you been in there?
It's only been like an hour and a half. Like, it hasn't been that long.
Even that long is still pathetic.
Hey, laugh. I'm gonna see when she checked in.
So she's been checked in with us since 7:30 a.m.
7:30 a.m. Okay.
Oh my God, Lord Jesus.
It's getting really warm out here now.
It's really hot.
And it'll
And look,
about.
the baby's dressed in pants and long sleeves.
Been here since 7:30. Been here since 7:30.
The nurse put into words what everyone was thinking. This is a nightmare scenario and a horrifying example
Hopefully I don't
of
need
parental
to
negligence.
actually
And
do that because I
things
had
just
stuff.
keep getting worse.
What happened to her arm? Why is her arm in a bandage?
She burnt her arm
Okay.
last week.
How?
She got to the arm. I was running, and I turned away for like a hot second, and she hasn't got to the arm.
Okay. Did she go to the hospital for that?
No, it just it was just that bad when I had when I had a teen, so I put ointment on it.
You know, I just hurt my child and all that. You fucking dumbass.
That's all I did.
I'm just gonna check it. Okay. I just want to make sure it's unaffected.
Tamisha, however, we received a 911 call stating the vehicle was turned off with the windows up and the kids. Hey, can you come here? Do me a favor. Start reaching in the vehicle.
I'm trying to charge it so I can call.
Okay. The windows is rolled up.
Yes, ma'am.
And the kids are here alone.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
We come here. However, they were unable. People were here, bystanders, we're able to, you know, open the door, give the kids some water, okay? Yes, ma'am. However, this is serious. This is severity crime, okay? You can't just leave the kids in the car unattended. All right? The car was not on.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't leave it on.
Yeah, I mean it's hot outside. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you mean to? Okay.
Even if it was on, people can take your children.
That-
They can take your car,
Yeah.
and it's like near 85 degrees outside. Inside that car heats up very fast, and children at a young age are they're easily raise their temperature level
All
up.
right, so I'm gonna go talk to my sergeant here. We're gonna discuss how we're gonna proceed. We're gonna go to the hospital, get the kids checked out. I'm gonna notify child family.
Yes, well.
And we'll go from there, okay? Okay.
It's crazy that the cops should even have to explain this to the mother of not just one, but 2 kids. And even worse, she's crying as though she didn't expect this to happen, and it seems she especially wasn't expecting this.
Okay. Oh, Rolling Stones just got their own pack now. That's cool. Source maker, workshop. Let's see here. What's it called? For a panel. Okay, fair enough. So first we need to do. Let's go back then. I do like that we have a proper model now compared to what we used to have. It's tiny as hell. There, get them in the wall. Oh, right, I can also do this. A better view. That being a thing, but whatever. If we're gonna use use that, let's see here. Oh. We're gonna flashback, so we're gonna use this one. We're gonna see how good the fur on it is. If not, we're gonna put Control V. Okay. Yeah, we get freaking guitar and everything. How lovely. Okay. Oh, goodness, this is about almost the same size. But we're gonna have to separate and all that. This thing can disappear if I can make it disappear from... Oh my god. Luckily, I can't make it disappear. That's good. Okay, endo. I need the endo. Fuck me. Wait a minute, hold on. If it's from the movie... Why would you... Oh wait, no. It does let the arm go through. That's cool. And it even has the ribcage. This is really well done. When you can't even see in here. Oh my god, this is like really thought out. Like you cannot see in here from the outside. Like most of this you cannot see. But they made the ribcage and everything. Hold on, can I just take the not that. You can even change that. Dang, that's... all the wires in there? Oh. Problem is gonna be these wires. Hold on, what else can I take off from here? Just eyes and eye casings. Oh, I probably should take away the eye? Wait, no. Because he still has the eyes on in the film, right? Normal eyes. Why would you give him red eyes? It never has red eyes. Okay. I think actually you need to be bigger. What can I take off of you? Glasses would be definitely helpful. Oh my god, you look cute. There's no blood texture for this. Well, there wasn't much blood anyways in the movie, so... I'm curious what the other one looks like. Oh, I already have the torture. Oh, what the I'm pretty sure that's not what the outside looks like. It's very good, I'll give it that, but that's definitely not the color of what it should be. Okay, does it have the... No, it does not. Do you like how it has another, like, black cover underneath it? That's what it has. It has the casing itself and then the fur on top.
You pregnant or postpartum?
No.
Go put your hands behind. We're just detaining you right now, right?
I'm,
Put your hands
I'm
behind
being
your back.
detained?
Yes. Put your hands together like you're praying. Like you're praying. There you go.
Don't see my baby.
Smoked any weed today?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Earlier,
Yeah, when was the last?
Evil and corrupt cops are everywhere, but what happens when they actually get caught?
I can't believe what you're telling me.
Here are 5 shocking examples of when evil cops realize they're going to prison, starting out with Detective Michael Neely, who was found in a hotel room sitting on top of his police chief's dead body. Mike and his chief Johnny Miller were away for a conference, and one night the two went out looking for a couple of drinks. But after a long night of drinking, Mike woke up in police custody and was immediately taken to the very same room he'd been interrogating suspects in for the last 10 years. But this time, it wasn't him asking the questions.
So tell me, Mike, you guys flew
So
out
the
to
good news is I can actually put these body
Oklahoma
parts
City,
around him.
to Pensacola.
Bad news is I think I
Was
have
it
to do all of that
direct
at once.
Nope.
Where'd you guys
I take this off.
stop?
Oh, this I can do separately.
All right, and then from there,
Got to the hotel.
Why?
Mike
Oh,
is
never
keeping all his answers short, which is a good idea in this situation. But it's up for debate whether it's because he knows it's the best move or just because he's still extremely hungover.
any problems?
Let's just do this for the moment. Let's.
Dinner or what? Any drinks there, or just dining with?
A couple beers.
Was it a early dinner, late dinner, or what?
Pretty early. It was I don't think it was dark yet.
Tell me what you guys did once you got back to the hotel.
That's about it. Just watched football game. That was a Dallas game starting.
Mike said the night consisted of a football game and a couple beers, but in reality, things went much further than that. Tests reveal that both men's blood alcohol levels were around or above 0.3. To put that in perspective, a level of 0.4 is widely considered to be a fatal dose, and 0.3 will likely result in alcohol
I think
poisoning,
I make this
a
one
condition
smaller.
that can
Yeah,
lead
because
to
of the
death
hand
and loss
itself.
of consciousness. Either way, both men will have been completely out of control of their own emotions and actions, likely leading to the horrifying events that occurred that night.
Do you remember hotel staff or hotel employee coming up and telling you guys keep it down?
I don't remember that.
So what is the last thing you remember as far as that evening until the football game?
I mean, I know you're asking me questions, but can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Okay, homicide. Who is dead?
Dead.
Dead.
Yes, sir.
I guess I probably don't have anything else to say then. I've got nothing to say to you.
Mike was initially told he was brought in for a homicide investigation, but only now told that it's his police chief Miller who died. Remember, Mike was so drunk last night that he almost certainly doesn't remember a thing. So knowing how bad his current position is, he decides to invoke his right to silence, telling the cops that he's got nothing else to say. But these are trained detectives, and they're about to put all their years of experience to work.
Michael, you've been charged with second-degree murder.
Okay.
You've been charged with second-degree murder, and you're fixing to be booked in the Escambia County Jail with no bond. And we've already notified your wife.
Okay.
And
The victim.
Yes.
I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for us?
I mean, I've got 1,000 of them, but I mean, really doesn't make it.
Well, I mean, sure it does. I mean, if you want to talk, we'll sit here and listen to you talk. I mean, we'd love to know what the heck happened. But I mean, that's up to you. I mean, we'll answer your questions, in return. So
I would love to know what happened to.
Well, I mean, do you want to continue to talk to us? If you do, then I mean, we'll tell you what happened.
I mean, I would love. I would like to know what happened. Because I'm telling you, I don't have any memory of any of this shit, and
Jesus Christ.
I'm shocked.
Do you want to continue talking to us?
Yeah, I mean, I'll continue to talk. I'd like to know what happened.
The detectives use two techniques here to persuade Mike into staying with them. First, they're reminded of the position he's in, almost threatening him with the punishments he's immediately facing. Then they ask if he has any questions for them. Obviously, given that they know Mike has no recollection of the previous night's events, he'll be scrambling to figure out what happened and if there's any way out of it for him. Imagine you woke up in a jail cell being told you're going to prison for killing your boss while blackout drunk. You do everything you could to piece together that night's events. Mike is now starting to realize that's his only option. Watch how his demeanor changes as he starts to almost join in his own investigation.
I'm trying to get you to figure out what's the last thing you remember.
Mm-hmm.
And if the last thing you remember was watching football, do you remember drinking?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you drinking the vodka?
Yeah, I drank some vodka.
I need to make you a bit
the first call came a little bit after 6, I believe.
You need to go up a little bit.
That was the room next to you.
didn't say you guys were arguing, just being loud, just laughing, yelling, probably. So the next noise complaint came out about 9 minutes till 10. This time he can't get anybody to come to the door. All he hears, he's knocking. He hears just grumbling, grunting, uses his car to get in, is on the ground.
Oh,
between
you
the
know what I need to
bed
do? I need to
and
actually
the
do this.
wall.
I need
You
to
were sitting on his chest. His face is beaten.
scale,
The statement that was given by the second noise
back
complaint
down to the smallest.
could hear a male saying, "Mike, stop, Mike, stop," and then it just went quiet.
Mike reiterates that he's got absolutely no memory of this and had no animosity towards Miller at any point. However, he also doesn't show remorse at any point. He just sits there confused and quite obviously only concerned for himself, repeating that he just can't believe what happened. The officers detail a little more about Miller's body and try desperately to get Mike to remember anything at all about the events. But he just sits there in complete disbelief.
I mean, you can't think of anything that would have triggered you to jump on?
Nothing. It's nothing. It's
should be a little bit better.
Unbelievable.
Anything else? You got
Yeah,
any
it's
questions
backwards.
for us, Mike, before we get you across the street?
No, I guess I'm getting booked into jail and
Yep, we're gonna get you booked in the jail and put in special housing over there so that you're not back there with the heads and stuff.
Right.
And protective custody. You're not wanting to harm yourself or anything, are you?
No.
Michael Neely was indeed booked into jail and subsequently sentenced to life in prison on account of second-degree murder. But Michael took all this news surprisingly well. He just sat there and accepted his life was basically over, in complete contrast to the corrupt tactics of this police captain. Captain James French was caught drinking and driving and followed home by an officer.
I need to
What
do
followed
this.
was one of the most brazen examples of police corruption ever caught on camera.
Stay in your vehicle. Back in your car. Drunk?
I'm drunk? I love that. That's really funny. Let's see here.
Don't reach in your pocket. Get back in your car. Have a seat.
I will. I'm not.
You been drinking tonight?
I just got a
Yeah,
ride.
I need to take this part.
You've been
Okay,
drinking
let's see here.
tonight, sir.
Now we can do Fellas again.
What police department?
Oklahoma City.
Or Spines.
What division?
Investigations.
How much we had to drink tonight, sir?
I think that's perfect there. The back is good. It just needs to go over to the right a little bit
I'm
more.
not turning my camera off.
Okay.
This guy isn't just drunk. He's absolutely hammered, even to the point where he thinks the camera can't hear him whispering. But despite the captain's pleas, the officer refuses to turn off his camera.
I think that's the best I'm gonna get.
Investigation.
Go ahead and step out of the vehicle.
Yeah, that's the best I'm gonna get.
You gotta be kidding me. How much we drink tonight, sir?
I was at a poker game.
Because you were swerving all over me when you turn off here. You didn't use your signal.
I'm sorry.
How much you drink at your poker game?
Not much.
Not much? How much is not much?
I don't know.
Beer? Liquor? How
Beer.
many beers?
3 or 4.
3 or 4? How long ago was that?
It's been going on a while.
How long ago did you drink your last beer, sir?
What time is it now?
It's 0140.
Midnight.
You think you should drive it?
No, but I came from 4 blocks.
Not that. I mean the head.
Your mom lives here.
Or neck.
I live
actually.
here.
You live here.
Yes.
Forward to the rear
Just
of your
make
vehicle.
sure that everything
You got any
is
weapons
supposed
or
to be where
anything
it's
on you?
supposed to be.
Those must have been a strong few beers, as not only was he stumbling over his words,
Just
but
making
apparently
sure the
also
head is the
swerving
correct
across both
size
lanes on
here,
his
and
way
then we'll
home.
go out the
The
way.
captain is then searched and told to stand in the
Yeah,
open where he's tested on
that's
his
the correct
balance
size.
and sobriety.
Okay, so you need to be off there, so you're not with it anymore.
Tip my pin, sir.
I'm gonna make
Tip
you
my pin without moving your head, okay?
go here.
Come over here, it's a little bit more level.
Turn.
I'm going to demonstrate for
This
you first.
way.
While I'm demonstrating, I want you to stand with your feet together, hands down by your side, just like this. All right, sir? What's your name?
Weird having to just move the neck. So the
French.
wires are coming with
Mr.
the head
French,
by
stand
itself.
just like that for
Would
me.
have had the
When
neck
I tell you
with
to
it.
begin, okay, I'm just going to demonstrate for
Fun
you. First,
fact:
I
the
want
suit
you
is
to
actually
put a
completely
position.
hollow.
It doesn't matter if it's your left or your
When
right.
he's wearing it, it's not. It doesn't have any metal in it, except for probably the eyes and the headpiece. But it's literally just an open suit. It's all, I think, CGI. That when it closes.
So forth until I tell you to stop. At any point in time, you lose your balance, your foot touches the ground. Just go ahead and pick your foot back up and continue
When
to
it's
count.
touching
Okay? Do you understand
here,
these instructions I've explained to you, Mr. French?
we can move this headpiece. Maybe not. Headpiece back a little bit more. Get your ear down.
Turn that off.
I cannot, sir.
Ear down.
I know you're aware of our body cam policy. You know I cannot turn off this body
I do,
camera.
but I'd like to talk to you.
I can't do that, sir.
Please.
Are you going to do the test or not?
Will you please talk to me?
I'll talk to you once we're
You can
done.
turn it off, you can turn it on.
I can turn it off once I'm done with my investigation, sir.
Okay. I'm a captain on the police department.
I understand that, sir.
I get
And I am
that.
a sergeant
Okay.
on this police officer, and I've taken an oath to uphold the law.
So
I
if
don't
I
show
do,
favoritism to anyone, regardless. I don't care if you're a gangbanger or the president of the United States.
Sir, I'm not asking you for that.
If I was to treat you differently than I was to treat like some Southside loco or some pedo, how's that look on me?
Okay, I'm not asking you for that.
Because I wouldn't do that for any of them.
Even
neck,
as the captain begs him
right
to turn his
there.
camera off and just talk, the officer stands his ground and states that he has to treat everyone the same or his job and livelihood could be at risk.
You're gonna
He's
tell
showing a
this 'cause it's not
fantastic
gonna
amount of
do- it's
integrity
gonna
that unfortunately we don't get to see
do a
too
weird thing
often,
if I don't.
likely due to people like this trying to pull rank. They then continue with the third and final test, involving simply walking heel to toe for 10 steps.
Alright, anytime
Okay,
you're
should
ready,
be
you may
working
begin.
now. It is. Okay, that works. And I realize that the camera is not in the right place at the moment. That is because I
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
do
6,
that.
7, 8, 9.
Alright, go ahead and turn around for me. Put your hands behind your back.
Are you gonna arrest me, sir?
Yes, I am.
Can I talk to you?
Go ahead and put your hands behind your back, sir.
We're gonna do that.
Now that the investigation is concluded and the perp is placed under arrest, the officer turns off his camera and returns the captain to the police department. Not only was he suspended from his position as Oklahoma police captain, but he was also hit with the regular punishments for DUI, likely amounting to a small fine and a few months in jail, a punishment that Stephanie Lazarus makes look like absolutely nothing. After decades of investigations, DNA evidence revealed that Stephanie was very likely the culprit of a murder committed in 1986. Because of the high-stakes nature of the case, the detectives made sure to meticulously plan this interrogation. Stephanie was a really successful detective herself, and she had recently received recommendations for her good work on a theft case. So the detectives used this, and brought her in under the guise that they needed help with a case.
Ah.
I want to talk about this in the squadron because I don't know who people are listening
I need
to. If we go to my
to
side,
show arms.
everybody's always wondering what everybody else is doing. Okay.
An interrogation room is a strange place for such a conversation to take place, so to put her mind at ease, detectives told her this was the place they'd least be likely to be overheard, as the case details were strictly confidential. Sherry Rasmussen's body had been found at her home after being shot 3 times. At the time, police suspected the murder was a result of a burglary gone wrong, but the case went cold when they couldn't identify the suspect. However, 23 years later, when revisiting the case, detectives found evidence that led them towards Stephanie, a girl who had been trapped in a love triangle with Sherry and her husband, John Rutten. So the detectives decided to bring up John's name to see how she'd react.
Were you guys friends, close friends?
Yeah, we're very close friends. I mean, what's this all about?
It's a case we're working on. It involves John, and in there's notes and stuff that he knew you and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, we good friends. Lived in the dorms
Yeah.
for years.
Is there ever any relationship or anything that developed between you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we dated. You know, I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's relating to your life.
Both the detectives and Stephanie have tried to seem as friendly and relaxed as possible around each other, but Stephanie is obviously starting to get very anxious at this point. Even though the detectives gave a somewhat believable excuse, she is now in an interrogation room faced by two detectives being questioned about a girl she supposedly murdered 20 years earlier. Her breathing has become faster, and her language is defensive, and her movements have become more erratic.
And you're right.
I mean, if you guys are claiming that I'm a suspect, then, you know, I got a problem with, you know, with that.
Okay.
Okay? So, you know, if you're doing this as an interrogation, you're saying, hey, I'm a suspect. Well, now I got a problem with, you know, now you're accusing me of this? Is that what you're saying?
Obviously, you know about all the DNA stuff and things of the nature that, you know, gets done on cases nowadays. You know, if we asked you for a DNA swab, would you be willing to give us one?
Maybe. Because now
because
I'm thinking I probably need to talk to a lawyer.
Stephanie chooses to provide DNA evidence, hoping her willingness to help out would ultimately prove her innocence. But, unfortunately for her, just 5 minutes later, the detectives decide they've heard enough and put her in cuffs. Months later, after a long and arduous trial, a decision was made by the jury.
We, the jury, in the case, find the defendant, Stephanie Eileen Lazarus, guilty of the crime of murder of Sherry Rasmussen. We further find the murder was of the first degree.
Stephanie was sentenced to 27 years in prison after being hit with a single felony charge of first-degree murder. But to this next cop, Jalen Fleer, a single felony charge looks like child's play.
Can I ask, is this something I should have lawyers on?
In April 2020, San Diego police received tips that a man had been engaging in with a local child. 2 months of investigation led directly to Jalen and a mountain of questions that desperately needed answering.
So, I know that I have a lot to delve into, but I really want to get to know you first, if you don't mind.
Definitely.
Okay. So, I'm going to lean back and get comfortable. Just because, are you comfortable? Do you want to take off your duty belt?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about your upbringing?
Yeah, so I will ask what this is about.
Yeah, so we're looking into some allegations that were made. We're kind of, it started with a Crime Stopper report, so we're just kind of going from there. We did receive a picture that, you know, when we looked into it, it looks similar to you, so I don't know if you can take a look at the picture and just tell me if you've seen this picture before. Oh, I have like 15 million things here. Okay.
As soon as the allegations are brought up, Jalen becomes visibly stressed. He leans forward tentatively in his chair, clasps his hands together softly, and clenches his jaw. It's obvious he's worried about whatever he's about to be shown. The detectives have made it clear that he is not currently being detained and is free.
By the way, if you're wondering why it's taking me so long just to deal with this character, I've never used this model with its face rig. So just give me a minute. I have to figure out how stuff works with that.
To leave at any time. However, she is making a noticeable effort to make him feel relaxed, using a bubbly and friendly persona to put him at ease.
So this picture right here.
Yeah, that's definitely me with the gross one.
Okay, so this picture right here, how old were you when it was taken?
I don't know, 20?
20? Okay, cool. That makes it very easy. So as far as like the picture, so this photo came up in connection with some allegations about you communicating with a younger female on Snapchat.
Okay. Can I ask, is this something I should have lawyers on?
Jalen is starting to seem more and more stressed. He begins to sway in his chair more and becomes more closed off with his answers. But the pressure he's feeling now is nothing compared to what the detective is about to lay on him.
So, you know, this, like I said, this photo was sent to this person, so they knew the position of it. Any connection or reason why this photo would end up with this particular person if it wasn't shared by someone you may know.
I agree, yeah. My wife would have done it, so I don't know why she would share that. So.
Well, along with the photo came some additional information about your personal life.
Okay.
So I'm wondering how we're even able to use this, because you can't see in this body at all. Hold on, let me check
and
the
the
other one.
information
Hold on.
was called J178211, a seemingly random selection of numbers, until you realize that 17 was his college baseball jersey number, 82 was his high school jersey number, and 2011 was the year he graduated in. If this account was operated by a so-called enemy of Jay, they'd sure done their research.
Jay, I'll be very honest. I want to know the truth.
Yeah, no, I've never even heard of that account.
Okay. Have you ever shared any images
Why would that be
your
red?
with anyone?
Yeah.
Okay. And how many times would you say you've done that?
A lot.
Did you ever share any videos of you having with anyone?
With anyone? No. I've always had personal videos of me and my wife. That was it. And my ex actually had one, but...
Jalen then rightly decides that he's already answered enough of the detective's questions and asks him for a lawyer. However, unfortunately for him, he's quickly handed a search warrant, allowing the police to seize DNA, his phone, and his car. Police used this to gather a mountain of evidence against Jalen and, just a few weeks later, turned himself in. Jalen was charged with 20 felonies, including engaging in lewd acts with children under the age of 14, pandering children under 16, and engaging in a child under the age of 16. A few months later, he was sentenced to 12 years in prison, a fraction of the amount Grant Hardin received after a murder investigation led to the shocking discovery of a crime committed over a decade earlier. Grant has been apprehended on suspicion of murder, but the secret he was hiding would end up making him so desperate, he would try everything he possibly could to escape. On the 23rd of February, James Appleton had pulled into a parking lot on Ganridge Road to take a phone call with his brother-in-law. Suddenly, a loud banging sound was heard over the phone, and the line went dead. A passerby had spotted a white Chevrolet Malibu parked behind James's car that immediately sped away after the loud noise. When the passerby went to check on James, he was lying dead at the wheel, with a gunshot wound to the head. Gateway, Arkansas is a small town of 400 people, so the owner of the Chevy was quickly determined to be Grant Hardin, a 50-year-old police officer who had lived in this town his whole life. Later that night, Grant's vehicle was stopped at a police roadblock
Oh yeah, right.
after taking his
It's
family
exactly
out
the same
for
model.
dinner, and he was quickly brought in for questioning.
I do
But
this
unfortunately for
now.
everyone involved, Grant's
Yep, that's on the
experience in
ground.
law enforcement would prove to make this interrogation one of the most excruciating and difficult that Arkansas police had ever had to deal with.
I'm Detective Chamberlain. I know we have James Chamberlain.
I'm still annoyed that I can't get into here.
I recognized you, but I wasn't 100% sure where I knew you from. But somebody said that you used to be a police officer in Gateway or something like that. Okay.
The interrogation begins casually as Detective Chamberlain opens with questions about Grant's career. As they're both police officers, he assumes he can strike an immediate middle ground with him, building trust between them and hopefully getting him to relax so he'd give up information easier. A strategy that he'd soon find out had the opposite effect. Grant has then read his rights, but decides this is where he's going to start making it difficult for the detectives.
Here's the thing. I want to talk to you about what you've done today, okay? Can you just take me through when you woke up this morning to when you got stopped by the police out there in, what's the name of that road that you were on? I'm sorry, I'm going to drop Gan Ridge.
I'm not going to say anything after I've been read those rights yet.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what's going on. I am kind of sickly to what I'm here for and things.
Up until this point, Grant hasn't been told what he's been brought in for, and states that he's feeling sickly, given the circumstances he's been put into. To being the suspect of a case instead of the detective for the first time in his life.
So you don't want to explain what you've done today? Did you? Is there a reason behind that?
What was the first thing said? I have the right to remain silent.
Okay. So you're telling me that you don't want to talk to me right now? Okay, cool. Hang tight right here for just a few minutes, okay?
As is normal in a case like this, the detectives leave the room for a few minutes to talk about how they're going to handle the interview. And not only does it give them time to formulate their approach, but it also gives the suspects time alone to worry about what could be going on and form anxiety regarding their situation. At the same time, though, it may also give the suspect a moment to collect their thoughts and generate their own story.
You know what I could do actually? Hold on.
Putting the detectives on the back
I just
foot
do
instead.
this. Just redo everything.
I'm Detective Cordier. I think we've met once before.
Probably so.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I don't know if I scared you at the beginning or what, but that's why I was trying to, and I can't, you see the position that I'm in, I can't tell you.
Oh, we're gonna see.
But at the same
I
time,
also want to do one
I need
thing.
to rule you out into something. Does that make sense?
When the detectives re-enter the room, they try an obviously different approach, this time attempting to set Grant at ease, stating that they just need to clear him from any wrongdoing, and then he's free to go on his way. Many people would, at least subconsciously, be inclined to open up a little more in an attempt to get out of there as soon as possible. But Grant has other ideas.
Would you be willing to talk to me about your day, knowing that I need to rule you out of something, or like I'm just, if you didn't do anything wrong today, you have nothing to worry about.
Yes, I would have liked to, but before the rights were read, so not knowing what's going on.
Yeah, and you understand as a detective, we read those rights to everybody who comes in here. It's not just you. It happens to everybody that walks through this room and talks to us.
As a former police officer, Grant is fully aware of all of this. He also knows that staying silent is a right and should not be used against him to imply guilt. So he continues to refuse to answer any questions to try and shake the cops off.
I guess my question is this, knowing what I just told you, I guess if it was me and I was, you know, if I was in your position, I'd be like, hey, James, I did this, or Grant, I did this, I was at, you know, here, and here, and I would just be done with it. But at this point, like, I can't clear you from this because you could still potentially be a suspect. I don't know if I'm not explaining it right or what is going on here.
It fine. I just have to, once the rights have been read, I have to, it says I have the right to be silent.
Yes. Okay. Just tell me this. I know you were a police officer before, right? You're a police officer in Gateway? It's an easy yes or no.
I'm being silent.
Well, I can see that. We can do this all night. I mean, it doesn't bother me. You're going to continue to be a suspect until I find out otherwise.
Okay.
Unfortunately for the detectives, Grant is exercising perfect form within this interrogation. Refusing to talk greatly hinders the investigation as a whole and completely prevents the detectives from making progress, all while being completely legal. This is why Detective Chamberlain is starting to appear visibly annoyed and decides to take a break from the interrogation, as letting emotions take control in an investigation like this can be extremely dangerous for the detectives. But, once again, this time alone can also give the suspects the chance to come up with a plan.
Hello, I need to go.
You need to go where?
Home or get ready for work in a little bit.
Okay, we'll just have a seat and I'll get it for you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
the other officer told me you want to talk to me again. What's going on?
I'm just ready to go.
Okay. And I'm not ready for you to go yet, so you're not going to be able to go. I've got other things that I'm doing right now, so.
I was gonna go.
Oh, no, you're not going to go.
Tell you that.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're not.
But I wanted. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oddly enough, in many other investigations like this, now is around the time where an officer may attempt to come to a decision regarding the suspect. The interview is obviously at a complete standstill and no progress is being made in any direction. The standard protocol would be to either gather the information needed to charge the suspect for a crime or release them based on a lack of evidence. But whether the detective thinks he can extract more information or if it was an ego-based decision, Grant is told to stay and continue the interrogation. The police then try to take some time to piece together more of the story, talking to witnesses to try and place Grant at the scene of the crime. Despite his silence being perfectly legal and acceptable, it greatly increases the detective's suspicion towards him.
Does Golden Freddy have
Suspicion that's
gloves
only
in the
heightened when
film?
Grant's wife says that his only alibi was that she thought he was spreading grass seeds at the time of James's death. All signs point towards Grant, and Detective Chamberlain goes back in for round 3.
Detective Cordero is talking to your wife right now. I talked to her a little bit, so I've kind of got a timeline of where you were and where you weren't today. We all know what happened, okay? I'm not trying to get you in any trouble. I'm not trying to get her in any trouble. You got a little daughter,
Do this, do that, do this.
needs her parents.
Turn this
I don't
way.
know if you've had a problem with this guy for a while,
Camera,
and
turn.
this was an accident, or you maliciously chased him down, or what happened. But if I don't get your side of the story, I won't ever know. You got chapter 1, you got chapter 2, and chapter 3. Chapter 1.
Oh, hey, Zoe. I'm just animating. No one's normally watches the live streams. There's sometimes one person that shows up once in a while. Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out what I should do for this. Because the problem is, if I want to copy William Afton's animations over to Withered Spring Bonnie here, that's a lot harder to do than you'd think it would be. Because it's not all the same stuff. Because there's so many different things going on here. Well, the root thing would be always correct, but we'll see. So if I just move the arms a little bit, say let's do that, break his arm, break his shoulder. Actually, that would look normal. There we go, break his shoulder there. Now I have all that. If I do this, Control C, it doesn't move the arm. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. Oh, sorry, Charlie. Okay. I have a notification. Oh, FNAF has a giant announcement coming. Or is live now for it.
Literally the entire cast.
He's already been live.
Hello. My name is John. I am here to announce something that is probably the biggest thing I've ever done on this channel ever. And I wanted to do it live. Mostly because I'm too lazy to record a video.
I know how that feels, John.
I just have so much going on.
Well, you watched the movie yesterday. That's good.
I am announcing like the biggest thing that
I've watched it twice already.
Something is happening on this channel. Okay, are you ready for this?
I noticed the sitting bush in the background.
On this channel, live, be having an exclusive Q&A with the Living Tombstone.
Okay.
And it's not over.
John, get to the point.
It's not over. That's not it. That's not it.
John, please just get to the point.
And I will be having the Living Tombstone on this channel. For an exclusive Q&A live.
Oh my god.
And I will be having the regular sauce.
Oh, he makes the... Oh, I probably should turn this up.
The regular sauce will be on the channel at the same time.
That's actually pretty cool.
Same call.
The same call.
For an exclusive Q&A on this channel. Voice cast of Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach and Ruin. We are talking Glamrock Freddy. We are talking with the channel. Made by Snartles, wonderful artist in the community. Smart.
So, what's my favorite animatronic? It's been Foxy for a very long time. Okay. We'll worry about the whole... Actually, I do need him. I just need to have it over. Oop, that's the wrong model. I have to take you and move you. Then I need to... Actually, I need the banjo to disappear. Well, you spelled Freddy wrong. It's with a Y, not a IE. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just that's how it works. How am I gonna do a horror ride just for me? Wait, I need to. What's up? Oh, the FNAF movie is one of the most grossing films in the box office. It's the highest that Blumhouse has ever had in their industry, and it seems it's even higher than the Mario movie that came out. Like, I didn't even go to see that in theaters. I decided to watch that at home. I went to the theaters for it. Let me see if I can find. I met one person that I wasn't expecting to see anyone. This picture. Come on. You're probably new here. So this is a person I saw at the place. Very nice. They said this took about a couple months to finish. I think if you got a little bit more. I don't think you made out of foam, so you don't need sand. I think if you just had those go down a little more, it would have looked seamless. But this is really good. I think most of this must be cardboard with aluminum foil, because foam is a little bit harder to get. Because I see the foam here for the teeth, but that's because it's white. Oh, hey, Freddy. Okay, anyways, moving on. There was something I forgot to mention on my last live stream for the FNAF movie. Yes, it was a cosplay someone was doing at the theater. It's that Dream Theory. No, that funny enough, that channel used to be called I used to call themselves Matt. Anyways, the dog's barking. Gotta take that out to this. Don't look at my assignment. YouTube. Oh, that was lovely. I'm gonna say your foot animation is way off, dude. Okay. Anyways, let's go to YouTube Music. By the way, my favorite scene in the whole movie is when Bonnie falls over. On top of the shelves, and because it's just his face, it always gets me. It's so funny to me. We'll just play this one because this one has the. If you want me to animate a specific song, please let me know. I am working on one big song at the moment. No, Spring Bonnie did get. Spring Bonnie did. He did get tased. I'm pretty sure he got tased. You're gonna make me look it up now. Pretty sure he got tased. Oh, tased wrong. No, that's just the spring lock failure. Spring lock failure. Okay, body tased. Swear to God, he got tased. I think it was by Michael too. Yeah, because okay, yeah. So he was tased. That at least he was tased, but he didn't shut down. And Golden Freddy, he still seems like he's partially real and partially a ghost in the movie. Like it's still a bit weird to me. But we'll worry about that later. I think we're just gonna get rid of William Afton and just keep with this. I think the thing I can do is probably have it jab in, but I'm not sure. Anyways, going back to the song.
Forgotten broken souls left to dance among the dirt until you walked right through the door and showed the way to turn these handbags into flames. Way to set this story straight. And now you'll never be the same. Hellfire, hellfire burning in my brain. I'm searching for a way to exterminate the pain. Just an outlier, outlier, fueled by all this hate. We've waited way too long, think it's time we came to take. Locked away and left inside, it's hard. Even when you give it hard, you'll feel so alone. Locked away and left inside your heart. Body, mind, and soul gone lost. You'll feel so alone. Drifts away.
See ya, Charlie.
All you'll have to show is who you're going to be when time has run out. Let me out my cage, I've had enough, had enough. We've been forgotten, been betrayed, we're down on luck. And it's tough to say the green grass growing on the other side. Wither away. It's time we all take care. Everybody wants to be so bad and reckless, till they're staring at the reaping checklist. This is our show, we've been waiting for the time of rest. Now it's time to come fulfill your death wish. Yeah, you're gonna rock, better not get caught. Time to hell gets hot. We're playing God and we can't stop. Come feel the hellfire, hellfire burning in my brain. I'm searching for a way to exterminate the pain. Just an outlier, outlier, fueled by all this hate. We've waited way too long, think it's time we came to take. Locked away and left inside, it's hard. Even when you give it hard, you'll feel so alone. Left inside your heart, body, mind, and soul gone lost. You'll feel so
Yeah, it was. I thought from the original teaser of it, I thought it was gonna look terrible, but it was actually really good, the entrance. be useful for grass. You're not wrong. Yeah, that would probably be better if it was bending a little bit. If it was able to bend. The PC is gonna go boom boom. Hold on.
Welcome to Freddy.
Okay, so I gotta be honest here. I don't know much of anything about the FNAF franchise. Like, I tried to play a couple games, but like, I just couldn't really get into it. All I really know is Vanessa, who I'm familiar with for, reasons. But Five Nights at
Thank you. Completely forgot about that.
Freddy's is like a huge franchise, right? Just absolutely massive. And one of the big draws for this movie is that the original creator of the games wrote the screenplay and produced it, which is how you know it's probably gonna be bad. Like, I don't know why, but this kind of thing like rarely ever pans out. So I'm just gonna approach this as a horror movie, okay? I'm just a regular person watching the new horror film.
Again, it wasn't made for that. That was the whole point. It wasn't made to be for a normal horror experience.
That came out based on a video game. So that being said, let's take a walk and check out Five Nights at Freddy's. But before that, really quick, this video is brought to you by Morgan &
No.
who's stuck working at a dead-end mall security job. And one day, he does a little bit of a oopsie.
So when are you gonna bring your sister?
By the way, I noticed the freaking rainbow character, by the way.
5. We got this new flavor.
Okay, we don't need a whole
I have
thing.
a job for you. Of course.
Conversation.
Okay, what is it? Thank you.
I have a job for you.
Sir, can you please make up your mind? There's no way I could get you a job. Ha, psych, just kidding. Here's a job. What was the point of this whole conversation?
Okay,
Because he realizes who it is.
what is it?
It's a security gig. You want the job or not?
How's the pay?
Not great. But the hours are worse.
Oh man, this is bringing me back to trying to get a job back in like my early 20s. So, Alex, why did you apply to work for us? Well, I'm trying not to starve to death and would like to be able to afford basic shelter. Well, have I got some bad news for you. Like, the only thing worse than looking for a job is trying to find an apartment. Okay, so your bedroom...
Yeah, what does this have to do about FNAF?
Abby, who his aunt is trying to take away and get custody of because Mike has a hard time finding a job and he needs prescription pills. So basically, he's just like the poster child for every Gen Z/millennial right now. And like this movie really wants you to know that he's on medication because boy, they close up on
He's not.
that thing like 6 times in 10 minutes.
Not even 10 o'clock and he could barely keep his eyes open. And this degenerate is who they entrust with the well-being of a mentally ill child.
Jane, like I've said before, Abby is not mentally ill.
Oh, right. Perfectly normal to sit around drawing pictures all day.
Wow, hey, let's just calm it down a bit for a second there, okay? Drawing pictures is perfectly respectable way to
Fatality
spend your
Mike
time,
wins.
all right?
I want to see that. You know how they do the whole Mortal Kombat bars on top? I want to see that.
You know, pictures hold tremendous power for children. Images are the most important tool we have for understanding the world around us. These are things children learn to communicate almost exclusively through pictures.
You know what's weird? I always found weird is that side shot. This one. Like, why did they do this? Because nothing's secret. It's like.
Are the most important tool we have for understanding the world around us. These are things children learn to communicate almost exclusively through pictures.
Yeah, our pictures mean something.
And who is at the center of 9 out of 10 of them?
Well, she's been doing a lot of pregnant Sonic and Tails with the caption, me and who? So yeah, maybe the internet was a mistake. Anyway, so Mike takes this horrible job, which is working as a security guard at this old rundown Chuck E. Cheese arcade called Freddy Fazbear's.
This place was huge in the 80s with the kids. It's been shut down for years. The only reason they haven't given it the
Is this 12th on trending?
old wrecking ball treatment is the owner's a bit of a... Well, he's kind of a sentimental guy, I guess. Just can't bring himself to let it go yet.
With that phrase, I still don't know if he's talking about himself or someone else. I still can't tell, like, for certain.
And the first night he works there, he literally just sleeps the entire time, wakes up at 6 a.m., goes right home. Also, like, where does this dude live where it's this bright out at 6 a.m.? Okay, I can only suspend my disbelief so far.
It's been that bright around here. New York, it's during the summer, it's like that. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, during the winter, it's not. And I'm assuming this is supposed to be like a summer job.
So everything seems like it's going
Actually, it might be fall.
relatively fine. You know, Abby's being babysat by the babysitter, if you can believe that. And Mike has a job, although it is the night shift. Which, as anyone who's ever done that will tell you, is literally just the worst thing. Like, we all know at least one person who does this, and they're like, yeah, it's actually not that bad once you do it for a while, you know? I mean, I feel perfectly fine. But Mike's aunt is not gonna rest until she takes Abby away, for whatever reason.
Hey, welcome to Sparky's. Could I set you folks up with some appetizers?
I still love that.
We are not eating.
Well, that's no fun. You do realize that lunch is the most important meal of the day.
Oh my goodness, is that Maticus Paddington?
You could have made that reaction faster.
Thought it was breakfast. Some people say that, but you know, it's just a theory.
Oh, he said the thing! So we come to find out that Mike's aunt is actually in cahoots with the babysitter and her friend or brother or whoever it says to try and find some way to make Mike lose custody of Abby. So they
I realized after I said it on the live stream, it's her brother.
come up with this idea to break into the place that Mike works at, destroy everything so he'll get fired, and then she can take him to court and take the sister away. What exactly is her motivation? Why is she doing this? Who knows? Now that night, Mike
For the check, he literally explains it. For the monthly check.
meets Vanessa, the police officer who patrols around these parts and loves to exposit tons of information for no particular reason.
Vanessa.
Because she's nervous and she. Oh my god. Like, even with normal writing, that is still fine.
Shelly.
Mike.
This place, it gets to people. It's one of the reasons why you're gonna quit. Oh, yeah, you see.
Because she. We find out why exactly she says it and all that. But, like. You gotta understand, like. Even with normal writing, that is not bad.
Security hires, you never last. Is this somewhere you see yourself 10, 20 years from now? Add to that the thing with those kids going missing.
She slips there. She doesn't.
Random exposition.
No, it's a random slip up. Because she's supposed to be hiding it.
Missing children, you say? Ah, yes, this will probably definitely not be important. She also shows him the main reason why this place was so popular back in the day.
Okay, this was a bit weird.
This is...
The best thing you've seen in your entire life?
Vanessa, you got some low standards. Now, as Mike and Vanessa get to talking, we find out
That's fair.
more about what's really going on with Mike over here. See, years ago, Mike was out camping with his family, and his brother got kidnapped right in front of him while he was supposed to be watching him.
Hey, Mike. Go grab a towel. Go watch your brother, okay?
Okay.
Garrett?
And he dreams about this every single night, hence why he needs the medication. And after this all happened, his
Or
mother
soda.
also died, and then his dad just like ran away or something, leaving Mike alone to take care of Abby. I'm telling you, this is one of the most trauma dump movies I have ever seen. Mike's brother got kidnapped and murdered, his mom died, his dad left, he has PTSD from all this and needs medication for sleeping, which is why he can't get/keep a job. Also, his aunt is trying to take away his sister from him, and like, do we need all this setup just for a horror movie about Chuck E. Cheese robots coming to life?
I think it was fine. I think it. Honestly, I think that's more. If they're not gonna have him in the second movie, I think it was a total waste. Because it's pointless. For most of the stuff. But having the idea of, oh, he needs to go to this shit job that's at night that he doesn't want to do normally. Because of his aunt wanted to take Abby away from him. That makes sense. But with Garrett and all that, honestly, doesn't make most sense with it. But with Dream Theory at the beginning, showing this thing, it's the whole point of the movie, so it does add up. But if they don't continue with it in the next movie, it's kind of he gets worthless there. Because there's still more that could be done with it. Especially with how short the movie was. The only reason that the whole kidnap thing is relevant and actually is good for that one movie is because it's the whole point of that is him trying to figure out what happened to Garrett. The mom and dad don't really matter as much of what happened to them. Like, obviously, you gotta think like they're. Oh, why are you saying that about human beings? Obviously, it's a story. But the main point is, a lot of it isn't just dumping it on you. Maybe the mom and dad thing, maybe it is, but the stuff you need to know is Garrett and Abby's situation. That's as most you need to know. And I think that was good. It wasn't a dump, but they barely even do anything with the parents, so it's not bad.
This is like an entire season of Euphoria in like one movie. Also, when I say that he has this dream every night, like, I mean, get ready to watch the same sequence about 800 times. Anyway, so Mike...
That was the whole point of this movie. Like, you gotta understand, that's the whole point of that
Vanessa
movie.
get to talking more and bonding over, like, life problems, man.
So there's this theory that we can't forget things.
Your brother, you think you saw who took him?
I will be honest, the second time I watched this, I actually skipped over the scene.
Buried.
I think
So
the
every
scene, I don't think you needed this scene.
night I dream, and I go back to that same memory, and I search for details. And that's usually the part where people tell me I'm crazy.
I know what crazy looks like, Mike. This isn't it.
And trust me, one time I dated a guy who said he liked the FNAF games for the gameplay. I mean, can you believe it? And then she just throws his prescription medicine in the river. Like, I'm pretty sure you can't just do that.
No,
like,
you
3
can't.
days in, Mike's just gonna be sitting there like... Anyway, so remember how the babysitter and all them, they were gonna like sneak into the arcade and try to get Mike in trouble and all that? Remember that part?
Yeah, here's the thing, you did this out of order, first off.
Jeff? Carl?
Carl!
No, you know the funny part is, Carl's the one that dies by the cupcake. That's a funny Easter egg, I love that. I'll be right back. We'll see what the guy says about that scene. I have my thoughts, but we'll see.
Yeah, so for some mysterious reason, the babysitter is not answering the phone anymore. Therefore, he has to take Abby to work with him. And of course, like, she thinks this is awesome because she's like 8 or whatever. But that night, while Mike is doing his strenuous job of sleeping while listening to nature sounds, Abby gets up to go to the bathroom, and guess what happens?
Hello?
Abby doesn't get up to go to the bathroom. Abby gets up because she hears a voice saying Abby.
I know you're back there. Might as well come out.
But hey, don't worry, turns out it's all fine. The robots are just tickling her, which honestly sounds way more horrifying, but sure, whatever.
Yeah, it does, because one wrong move and it's crush.
They wouldn't stop tickling me.
Yeah, that's not weird at all. So Mike, Abby, and Vanessa all hang out together with the robots, and they make like a cool fort and braid each other's hair and talk about boys and stuff. So, who do you have a crush on? Really? Like, ew, but like, I also kind of get it though. But then suddenly, just out of nowhere, Vanessa gets like all weird about Abby being there, and she tells Mike to never bring her back ever again.
It's not. It was a forefront for Abby that why she wasn't acting like she was in the back room, because of how she was around Abby.
I saw your eyes. You were terrified.
You can do whatever you want with your own life, but if you ever bring Abby back here again, I will shoot you.
Now, one thing that's been going on with this movie is, like I said before, Mike dreams about his brother being kidnapped every single night. But while he's been working this job, his dreams have started to get a little different.
Isn't what I asked for.
You want to save Garrett. That's why you're really here. You can have this dream every night.
How?
I don't know how the ghost would do that anyways.
Want Abby.
Now, Abby can also see these kids. Like, I don't know if it's just in her dreams or if she can, like, literally see them. But all the same, Mike tells her to ask them if they can tell her to tell him who took his brother all those years ago. Because we don't have enough emotional tension already. So sure, yeah, let's have...
Isn't what I asked for.
You want to save Garrett. That's why you're really here. You can have this dream every night.
How?
We want Abby.
Now, Abby can also see these kids. Like, I don't know if it's just in her dreams or if she can, like, literally see them. But all the same, Mike tells...
It's literally shown right at the beginning at the film that it's like, oh, you're sitting on my friend. She can obviously see him. Oh my god. How did you miss that part?
Tells her to ask them if they can tell her to tell him who took his brother all those years ago.
Because they're not being forefront with him.
We don't have enough emotional tension already. So sure, yeah, let's have Mike also be trying to avenge his brother in the middle of all this. Why not? Now, like I said, Vanessa doesn't want Abby to come around anymore, so Mike has to call his aunt to ask her to watch Abby for the night. But the robots, who we find out are actually being controlled by the dead ghosts of the children that went missing years ago, anyway, they really want Abby, and they kidnap Mike and Vanessa so they can go get Abby themselves. And this is when we find...
No, that's not what happens. No, Vanessa never gets kidnapped. Neither does Mike. Well, Mike does, technically. But Vanessa doesn't get kidnapped. That's complete false information. Like... Seriously, like, that's a complete lie. That's not even true. You can't even, like, move it in a way to say, oh, she was kidnapped. No, she saves Mike's life after they kidnap him.
Finally learn what's really been going on the whole time.
In the 80s, when those kids went missing, he knew the parents would cry and the police would come looking, and he knew there's one place they'd never think to check because it's not just their ghosts that are inside of those machines. It's their bodies.
See, he's even showing the scene of that she wasn't kidnapped.
What's happening in this movie?
Clearly, you don't even know the basic of Final Parties.
This dude kidnapped these kids and put their bodily remains in the Chuck E. Cheese robots?
You know what? Never mind.
This movie goes from weirdly wholesome to insanely dark so fast.
That is the point.
Kids, they don't want to hurt anyone. It's him. He influences them somehow.
Yes, this is a bit weird, this part.
He is.
He's my father.
Oh. Of course. Of course. Sure, how many more plot twists can we possibly fit in one movie?
Right, he's looking at through a normal person. I'm like, what plot twist? There hasn't been any yet.
Mike's brother was kidnapped by the same guy who killed the other kids in the 80s and put their souls into his robots, who killed the people working for Mike's aunt who's trying to take Mike's sister away. Oh, also, this man is Vanessa's dad.
I'm sorry, how is the aunt thing, like, a twist? I thought it was quite obvious. That's not a twist.
Dad, I'm sorry, which Kingdom Hearts game is this? And while this is all happening, Freddy just, like, goes to Mike's house.
Not Freddy! We can clearly see this is the fifth spirit that's not even the same goddamn color.
They're all waiting for you. It's time to go play.
That is a twist there.
Silly Aunt Jane. She fell asleep.
So so
yeah, that scene was a bit weird. I will admit that scene is a bit weird.
this giant Freddy robot just like takes a taxi to the house, kills the aunt, and then they taxi back to the arcade, and the driver's just like, huh, isn't that something? Anyway, so the end of the
Yeah, that's also a YouTuber.
movie is Mike trying to save Abby. He gets attacked by an evil robot cupcake, as one does. Abby hides in the ball pit, which would honestly just be like the worst place to go, because you know there's like 20 years of kid barf in there. And then
Yes, we all make that joke, actually. You're not the only one, dude.
Vanessa's dad shows up in his like rundown yellow rabbit suit to do scary rabbit stuff, I assume.
Lucky me!
It is weird that there's a voice box with it, or not a voice changer.
First I killed your brother.
Oh, it's the patch. I was like, what is this? And then I realized what it was.
Now I kill you.
Drop the knife.
All for temper tantrums, aren't we, Vanessa?
Oh, of course. Of course. We need one last plot twist here. Yeah, sure.
First off, that was the main plot twist. It wasn't another one. That was the main one. Dumb fuck. From the beginning, they set that up at the beginning with the job thing. That was obvious.
Sure, we could probably fit one more on there. Now, how they stop him is Abby draws a picture that shows the truth about what's really going on so the ghosts of the kids can finally understand that Vanessa's dad is the bad guy.
The yellow rabbit.
If you read the last book of the trilogy, you would know this whole reason why.
Controls them.
The drawings show them what really happened.
You need Jesus, Abby. And so the robot kids turn on Vanessa's dad and like they don't kill him, they just like lock him in the storage room for some
Oh, because they want him to suffer.
reason. And like now that Mike's aunt is dead, he gets custody of Abby anyway, so you're welcome, Mike. And that's pretty much where the movie ends. Yeah, so like...
Yeah, but how is he not dealing with the police and all that for a dead body in the house? That's the thing I would find weird.
I think the movie could have been pretty okay if they trimmed out like half the backstories and had way more scary parts. Because like the movie was advertised as like a spooky horror thing, right? And the games are...
If you actually caught up, it was not actually. If you actually paid attention to the marketing, not just from the trailers, it was not advertised to be just scary.
Are about surviving the night while the terrifying robot animal dudes sneak around when you're not looking. But like this movie feels like the creator guy was just so gosh darn proud of his game lore that he shoved like 10 games worth into one movie. I guess
That's not even true. That is definitely not true. This is the main way to think of it. Like, how would you... Oh,
if you're like a huge fan and you really want to see the complete nonsense lore up on the big screen, then like maybe you'll get more out of it than I did. The animatronics that the Jim Henson Company made for this movie are really cool though, but like they're not in the movie nearly enough. Most of this movie is just people talking about...
I will admit that is true. They're not in the movie nearly enough.
Their traumatic backstories that we didn't even need in the first place. Much like a lot of movies I've talked about over the years, like the real main issue here that I have with the movie is that it doesn't...
I'm very comfortable. You clearly missed the whole point of this fucking movie. You have no idea what the fuck is going on. Jesus.
Seem to know what it actually wants to be. Is it about scary robots killing people? Is it about a guy fighting for custody of his sister? Is it about a guy dealing with his dark past? Is it about ghost children getting revenge on their kidnapper? Is it about a girl dealing...
Okay, first off, that was like the last thing. That wasn't even the whole story. By the way, them getting revenge, that was the last bit. Because they had no idea the whole time that he was the one that killed him.
with her abusive dad? Because like right now this movie's trying to be all of them at the same time. I guess all of this story is just directly from the games, but like that doesn't mean it's good though. When a game story is fed to you piece by piece over like 10 games, the reveals and lore dumps
Again, it did just a normal thing. It was not too much. Like you could get that pretty much from the first game. Was Willie obviously we didn't know the name, but William Afton was the one that killed the 5 kids. And we play as the security guard. The robots do attack him during this, by the way. We see see memories of the children. What else is there? Pretty much in the first game, that's what we do. Yeah, it's pretty much stuff that's in here. Hi, Luffy.
mean a lot more because of the context in which you get them. But when you just lay it all out in a movie like this, like I said earlier, if you're a huge fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, you've played every game, you've watched every MatPat or Markiplier video or whatever, you'll probably get a lot out of this. Like, it's definitely made for you. But if you're just looking for a good horror movie, like, this is not it. Hey everybody,
Here's the thing. My parents enjoyed this and they hate Five Nights at Freddy's. They enjoyed this film. Not entirely, but they liked it. So, yeah.
Thanks for watching this video.
Today's the day. The FNAF movie had come out and we've been waiting 8 years for this moment. And while in the coming weeks I'll try to give some good insight as to the lore and how it connects to the games, for today I wanted to get out something right now, so we're just gonna go over every single Easter egg and secret I could find in this movie. One of the challenging things about this list is figuring out what counts as an Easter egg and what counts as just faithful adaptation. Like, the animatronics are such good replicas of the games, but that's not really an Easter egg, that's just a good adaptation. So some of these Easter eggs might fall into that category, but honestly, I'd rather be too corrective in that area and just include things that aren't Easter eggs, just good adaptation moments, rather than leave something out in the fear that it's not an Easter egg. And then I could have missed something. That being said, there will be spoilers for the movie. To avoid copyright, I'm not going to be showing any footage, just screenshots. But we're talking about Easter eggs here, so I'm going to be talking and showing screenshots from the entire movie. You've been warned, but also I'll be going sequentially. So the risk of spoilers is just going to be increased over time. You could probably watch the first couple minutes and not be that spoiled, but if you watch to the end, you're gonna know the majority of the plot. So without any further ado, let's get started. Slices, here is every Easter egg in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. We open on the Universal logo, glitching out like many of the games do for effect. And with the Universal logo on screen, it's probably a good time to mention this. The SAG-AFTRA strikes are still going on, and I fully support the actors and stand with them. Now, this movie was made by Blumhouse, which isn't a struck company, but it was distributed by Universal, which is. So, screw you, Universal. I hope you lose. Moving on, we immediately get our first shot of the FNAF 1 office, and while it's not super clear right now, we can still see some references. We get the exact Celebrate poster from the games, even though the models are slightly different because of the Easter egg. We also get the exact same red striped cup, crumpled paper, and fan on the desk. The shots on the camera feeds are mostly new angles for the movie, but there are some similar ones from the games, namely Pirate Cove. We also can see some of the rules poster here, but it does seem like it was changed for the movie. We then get to see that the vents are an exact recreation from the vents of FNAF 2. Well, not in location and format, but in appearance. They have that same dented box look to it. In the next shot, we get the song that copyright claimed everybody from the trailer, Talking in Your Sleep by the Romantics. Now, the song itself being here isn't technically an Easter egg, but the lyrics and the year it was released, I think, are. The important—
Yeah, my father talked about this. He was listening to the lyrics, and it actually explains pretty much the story as well of the movie.
Lyrics of the song that get repeated pretty much every time they perform it are, I hear the secrets that you keep when you're talking in your sleep. And keep in mind, this song was released in 1983, which is a very important year in the timeline and possibly when the bite victim was, well, bitten. But it definitely was the year that Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was introduced. I've got 7 pages. I think out the previous security guard. And in this moment, we get a reference and an Easter egg. The reference is to Foxy humming his usual song. Again, like, is that a faithful adaptation or an Easter egg? I don't know. What I do think is an Easter egg is how he attacks him, running down the left hallway, just like he does in the games. Now, the machine thing in the workshop. I have a lot of thoughts about this, but I'll save it for a lore video, because honestly, we do not get an explanation for this machine at all, ever.
Not even the
It just
people
is
that
there.
went.
Looking at it, it's like this ashy gray
Yes, I
Freddy
do.
head. Part of me for a moment thought that was going to be Shadow Freddy, but I think we have a better candidate later on in the movie. Also, this isn't an Easter egg, but if you're confused on how Michael survived this trap later in the movie, the security guard loosening the screw in this shot is the reason he's able to break free. In the next establishing shot, we see these classic weird clouds on the Freddy stage, and then we finally get the drawing wall. At first, I thought this was going to be just a cavalcade of Easter eggs, but going through these, none of these drawings exactly match anything from the games that I could find. However, the drawings themselves do have some references therein. There's this drawing of Balloon Boy, who we'll talk about later in this video for sure. There's one with a kid named David, and I hesitate to say that this is an Easter egg for the kid named David from the story The Mimic, only because that seems like a stretch, but to be fair, this is the only named kid on the entire wall, so it does feel important. There's also this picture, which has what looks like it could be Chica's Magic Rainbow, but there's a definite reference to it later on, so this might just be a coincidence. We then get the opening credits, which as a whole is an Easter egg to the lore minigames throughout the franchise, but I do think this moment specifically is meant to reference this moment in FNAF 4, where we see someone put on a...
It's the Springtrap scene where he's putting the head on. Not Springtrap, Spring Bonnie scene. I just want to explain that.
Suit in a back room in a very similar fashion. Also, the balloons given to the kids match the same colors as the Happiest Day balloons from FNAF 3. Moving on to Mike. He's introduced with his alarm clock turning on in darkness, in reference to how most of the nights of the games end with 6 a.m. in darkness. Also, this is kind of a stretch, but this shot of the side table kind of feels like a reference to FNAF 4, specifically how the pills on the side table can appear rarely in that game. By the way, I did check those pills, and it looks like they're Loprazolam, which are in fact a sleeping pill. I tried to do some research into the book that Mike has with him, and as far as I can tell, it isn't a real book, which makes me think that the title Dream Theory is a deliberate reference to the very common theory back in the FNAF 4 days.
Yeah, and that's why I said fuck you, Scott, the whole time.
Where it was purported that the original story of FNAF was intended to be the nightmares of the FNAF 4 protagonist, which was later retconned in Sister Location. I'm not saying that theory is true, but I am saying that this title feels like a direct reference to that theory. Very
And
quick
Scott
aside,
was the one that led
I
us
have
to
two
it.
bounties for this movie. What I mean by that is there's two things that I'm very curious about but can't find solid evidence for, so I'm putting it out into the ether for one of you to find. The first one is Nebraska. Why? Granted, it could just be a random location. Now, I do want to specify. I don't mean like, why does he have a poster of Nebraska? I understand that's where Garrett was taken. My question is, why was Nebraska chosen for that point of the plot? If anyone can find any evidence or reasoning for that, that'd be great. Granted, it could just be randomly picked to separate it from Hurricane Utah. I don't know. I just want to make sure I'm not missing some obscure reference here. Moving on to that definite Chica's Magic Rainbow reference I was talking about earlier, this ice cream parlor, and yeah, that's one for one. Then the security camera actually gives us a couple references. You could argue that camera 2 is a reference to how the camera 2 has been in like every FNAF game with security cameras, but much more strongly than that, we get a piece of information and an Easter egg. The date on this camera is April 6, 2000, which 1 tells us that this movie takes place in the year 2000, but 2, the first FNAF movie teaser dropped on April 6th. Moving on to Steve Raglan. Now, I'm not the first one to point this out because he was in the trailer, and it's more of character design than an Easter egg, but I thought it was worth bringing up. In this shot, Matthew Lillard is dressed in a yellow-based shirt with a purple tie, and the interesting part about it is the fact that he's pretending to be Steve Raglan when really he's William Afton. In the games, whenever William Afton is pretending to be Spring Bonnie or an otherwise, like, innocent demeanor, he's portrayed with yellow, like we see at the end of Fruity Maze and arguably like we see in Midnight Motorist. But whenever he's actively doing a murder or something like that, he's always been purple. So you could argue that purple represents William Afton, whereas yellow represents his hidden exterior. And in this shot, we see literally that, where there is a yellow exterior of what he's currently presenting, hiding the purple inside him. The name Mike Schmidt is also interesting. For one, it's an Easter egg because in the FNAF 1 games, Mike Schmidt is the name of the player character. But the way William reacts to that name gives me pause. He reacts specifically to the name, not Michael's face, which he then starts to look at after he reads the name, but the name. name, which to me implies that Mike Schmidt is actually Josh Hutcherson's character's name. The reason that gives me pause is in the FNAF games, it's pretty widely accepted that Michael Afton is the player character in FNAF 1 using the fake name Mike Schmidt, so this would be arguing that his real name in the movie is Mike Schmidt.
But then we find out later that Garrett is also called Garrett Smith. Or Smith, I mean. It's the same name, so. I'm gonna say probably the FNAF 1 designs are probably a lot better for animating. I do like this spring body model though from the movie. It's actually a lot better. Than most.
Therefore, not Michael Afton. And here's bounty number 2. I mentioned I had 2. This is the second one. I spent an hour and a half. And mind you, I'm making this video within like 20 hours. So that was a big part of my process. But I spent like an hour and a half trying to find anything to link this map in the office to. It looks like a township or county map, and I just can't tell. I tried Hurricane, Utah. I looked around Nebraska. I looked around Utah. I even looked around Louisiana, which is where they filmed. So if anybody can link a real world location to this map, it just might give us the location of Freddy's in this continuity. Okay, really quick, it's like 8 p.m. Friday. Editing Riley, we have a break in the case. Hyperdroid noticed that this movie takes place in Minnesota. So with this map, that's your lead. I did some looking for like 20 minutes, but I can't find anything.
Okay.
Your lead is the movie takes place in Minnesota. So maybe this is a county or district or township somewhere in Minnesota. Best of luck. Also, it shouldn't have to be said, but it will be said right now. I need to specify 2 very important things. 1, even if we can find a real-world location that this map correlates to, that doesn't necessarily mean that this map represents canon information of where Freddy's is located. It could just be a stock asset they had. But number 2, and this is the most important,
yeah, like all the animatronic parts in the back. No, it doesn't, but here's the thing. I'm not having William inside Spring Bonnie at this, so I'm going to have it the way that the children see it. So they see just this. They see the yellow rabbit. They don't see William or the human in him. They see the yellow rabbit. I am really weirded out that these are purple, and it's kind of annoying me. Aren't they green in the movie? But it actually works out for what I need. I need you to go actually more back. And I need you to go forward. Is that weight distribution better? Yeah, that's better. I do need to do this. I need to get rid of the rig. What the just happened? Okay. Yeah, because that's definitely what needs help right now.
We do find a real-world location this map correlates to, do not go there and harass people. Don't go there at all. It's just a fictional story. Nothing is actually going to be there. We're not trying to harass an innocent township. We're just trying to find a setting. Later at Abby's school, we get a chalkboard with a lot of spelling words. And of those spelling words, we get bunny, bear.
Oh, that's why they show that scene. That makes more sense now.
Chick, Fox, and Puppet, implying the FNAF 4 crew plus the Puppet, which would have been at the original Freddy's location. Now, before we get to Mike's first night at the location, I think it's worth noting that Mike does in fact spend 5 nights at Freddy's. Granted, he goes to the location 6 times, but the 5th time he goes is during the day, so he only goes for 5 nights, so they made good on the title. On our first night, we get our first of 3 total Balloon Boy jump scares, which is insane to me.
Yeah,
Granted, it's just the toy Balloon Boy, but it feels so weird that they did it 3 times, and each time implied something supernatural going on. I don't know. Hey, here's my out there theory without doing...
Especially the last one. He just came out of nowhere and just sat. He opened the door, sat in the car. But yeah, that 3rd time was weird.
Any research onto the theory? What if Garrett was killed and then possessed Balloon Boy, and this is Garrett reaching out to Mike? Is that true? Probably not. I mean, it's just off the dome. In the next shot, we get a decent look at the prize counter, and besides just the normal
Like,
Funko plushes that
if we're going off of this model alone for the Springtrap draw, it looks like it's the mechanical itself, not it would actually be moving with the person.
are usually representative of merch. We also get a reference to the cursed rubber Chica mask, and I know it's on purpose because he just doubled down in it in Freddy in Space 3 right before the movie came out to promote the movie.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I know
that's
they
what that
know
was.
about that cursed mask, and I know this is a reference to it. Easter egg. Later in Mike's dream, we get the 5 kids of the missing child incident. We never get their names in the movie, but if the books and games are to be believed, we can assume that their names are Jeremy, Susie, Fritz, and Gabriel, and this center blonde kid being Golden Freddy, aka either being Cassidy or the Crying Child. More likely the Crying Child. And yes, we still don't have a goddamn name that's evidenced back for this kid.
Yeah, fuck you, Scott, with that. You could have made at least one thing easy.
For that first night, we get our first of a surprising 2 references to Sparky the dog. For anyone who doesn't know, one of the very early, if not one of the first hoaxes of the FNAF franchise is Sparky the dog, a fake animatronic that was purported to be real, non-harmful, and just an Easter egg in FNAF 1. The restaurant here is named Sparky's, which at first I could have assumed was just like an accident or coincidence, but with the second reference, and they double down, and you know that this is on purpose. But even more aptly, at Sparky's, we have our first of 2 YouTuber cameos. Well, in-person cameos. And that is MatPat. He even says it's just a theory. But if you pay attention, not only is MatPat on screen, his name tag says Ness, in reference to the very controversial Sans' Ness theory. And I just really love that they managed to put an Easter egg inside of an Easter egg. That's just cool. Back at the pizza place, we get to see "It's me" written in the mirror, the calling card of Golden Freddy. Then, when Vanessa buzzes into the office, we get the exact same sound effect that the lights use in FNAF 1. Later, during the break-in, we see on the monitors the classic Cam 1A angle, that being the stage with the 3 animatronics on it. Then there's probably the clearest shot of the Employee of the Month board we get, and this is just chock full of FNAF tubers. We've got Fusion Z Gamer, Baz, Razbowski, Dalko, 8-Bit Ryan, Crofteria, and DJ Sturf on there. There's more people on this, but it's hard to see and it's kind of blurry, so if you recognize anyone else on this, put it in the comments. I'm so curious. Later in the break-in, it's not really an Easter egg, but more of a blink and you miss it moment. But once the cupcake starts messing with Carl in the kitchen, you can see Chico walking in the background behind the fan. Speaking of, this guy is 2 Easter eggs in one. First, he's wearing a Midnight Motorist shirt, but second...
I noticed that in the middle of the film. He has a Midnight Motorist shirt, and it annoyed the shit out of me, and I... Annoyed the absolute shit out of me when I figured that out.
He gets killed by the cupcake, and that's notable because his name is Carl. For those of you who don't know, a common fan theory is that the cupcake's actual name is Carl the Cupcake. So this seems to be a light nod towards that, even though the promotional material for the movie just calls him either Cupcake or Mr. Cupcake. Speaking of death references, Hank is killed in a method that's very reminiscent of Silver Eyes. In the Silver Eyes, Dave, or William Afton, breaks free of his containment and runs into the office, locking himself inside. It protects him from Chica, who's in the hallway, who's then going to attack the other people, but he notices that Bonnie was already in there waiting for him, and Hank runs away from Chica, locks himself in a room by accident, and Bonnie's in there waiting for him. Later in the workshop, we see him, the dog. Sparky the dog is real. Also, next to him is, I think, the most likely candidate for Shadow Freddy. After all, it's a purple suit that kind of looks like Freddy. At first, I thought this was going to be the purple guy hoax from FNAF 2 that looked like this, since it's next to Sparky the dog and everything, so two hoaxes next to each other would be a fun reference. But looking at the face of the animatronic, it definitely looks more like Freddy. This head in the background is incredibly reminiscent of Withered Foxy, but it's kind of dark and out of focus, so I could see it being Twisted Wolf or something else. Finally,
Twisted Wolf.
This isn't an Easter egg, but can we talk about Max being bit in half? Because holy shit. Back at the house.
Was that the bite of 2000? Oh, that's so stupid. Sorry. Just thought of that joke.
House, Abby is watching the 1939 short film A Day at the Zoo. I watched the whole thing to see if there was anything that could be linked to Freddy's, and I couldn't find anything. I could just be missing something, but there's two other explanations. Either, the most likely scenario, it was just a stock copyright-free asset that they used. But consider it came out in 1939, and if the Fredbear Sing and Show ticket is as old as it looks, then the Fredbear Sing and Show that later inspires William Afton to create Fredbears, or later likely inspires him, it's still a theory, it could have started all the way back in 1939 and then later down the line inspired William Afton. I don't know, you know, it's possible. We also see this.
Even if it wasn't 2000, it was in spring because of the April 6th.
Sun clock on the wall, which is likely a reference to a very similar sun clock we see in the FNAF 4 house in sister location. When they get back to the pizzeria, we finally get an up-close shot of the chairs in the place, and they look strikingly similar to the FNAF 1 chairs. And once again, I have to sit here and ask myself, is that an Easter egg, or are they doing a faithful adaptation? I really can't tell the difference anymore. And then later we see the back of Foxy's head, which is notable because there's a piece of duct tape holding his eye patch in place. Now, for those who don't know, in FNAF 1, the model was made a little inconsistently for Foxy, and because of that, his eye patch actually doesn't attach to anything. It just kind of floats there. So I'm pretty sure this duct tape is an Easter egg to that fact. Bro, Mark's fur is getting everywhere, and my nose is dying. Then we see the most wild reference in the entire movie. This is a big spoiler, so if you've been watching before seeing the movie, this might want to be your cutoff. In Ella Doll Springlock suit in the back row. Now, for those who don't know, the Ella Doll animatronic was actually 4 animatronics from the Silver Eyes novel trilogy. The plot of the Silver Eyes is that when William Afton kills Charlotte Emily, Henry Emily goes into just a manic state. He starts even believing that the Ella Doll is actually Charlotte Emily, and to make up for that, he makes 4 animatronics in the likeness of the Ella Doll at different stages of her life. A toddler, a young child, a teenager, and an adult. Those turn into separate characters throughout the whole time, but the child is what is turned into the Ella Doll after Charlie ages out of it. This Springlock Ella Doll would probably be the youngest stage, which begs the question, is Henry in here? Does the Silver Eyes happen in this continuity? Because I don't see how that tracks with the William Afton we see. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So is this guy in the background, or even Mike's dad, Henry? I'm not sure. It's crazy, but
Right, this is about non-binary. Yeah, I did notice this guy. And it's hard to say if because Henry worked on his own models as well, if he's the owner or not.
this Easter egg is insanely cool. Now, we knew going into it that Markiplier wouldn't be in the FNAF movie because he was too busy filming for Iron Lung. And both Markiplier and Scott have stated that there's no animosity. Scott even commented on one of his videos saying that he understands, he can't wait for Iron Lung, and maybe in the future if they get to do a FNAF 2 movie, they'd love to have him on. That being said,
which officially they not officially, but it is looking highly likely since it's the most growing film.
I have a guess as to what Markiplier's cameo was going to be if they left the scene in and just casted an actor, and it was this pharmacy scene. Something about it felt right.
And you're wrong. It was he was supposed to be the past security guard.
Like, it was the right length, it focused on the side character just enough for a good cameo, and I thought Markiplier would have been a great fit for it. So maybe this was where Markiplier was planned to be, but he couldn't make it. Or it's just a scene. You know, they could have just cut whatever scene Markiplier was supposed to be in, I don't know. We then get this scene with Golden Freddy, but interestingly, they went with the FNAF 2 version of Golden Freddy and gave him blue eyes.
Sorry, Rightos, but your FNAF 2 thing here, I get it, you're trying to say FNAF 2 with the broken ear and all that and the eyes, but that's clearly a FNAF 1 model. The head is the exact same as the other Freddy.
Interestingly, they went with the FNAF 2 version of Golden Freddy and gave him blue eyes. My theory behind this isn't necessarily that it is the FNAF 2 Golden Freddy, but more of a logical and stylistic choice. Logical because it never really made sense why Golden Freddy would have been refurbished in the first place, and was probably more of a side effect of Scott not super planning the story until like FNAF 3 or 4. And for stylistic choice, let's face it, in a dark settinged movie, gold and brown are pretty similar, so it could have been confusing for audiences who aren't sure what Golden Freddy is if there's suddenly a Freddy that looks pretty similar to the other Freddy showing up, and maybe there's two. So the missing ear and slightly
clearly one of them, the guy that we watched before, still got that confused.
different bow tie and hat help to really sell that point. But it's also worth noting that we get two semi-references here. This whole scenario is very reminiscent of Midnight Motorist, where a three-toed animatronic is luring a child out of their home. But it's also reminiscent of the Fazbear Fright story Coming Home, where Chica is leading Susie back to the Pizzaplex where she belongs. This is after Susie died. Oh, okay, well, see ya. So much fur. Don't actually know where the Freddy Pillow Pet went, so you're dealing with him. Then we get the Corey X Kenshin cameo that we saw in the trailer where he's driving the taxi. We also get this photo in the scene where it's revealed that William Afton is...
So, Spring Bonnie originally had blue eyes?
Behind all of this. And this photo is very reminiscent of the William Afton photo we see in the Silver Eyes, except instead of Henry, there's a young Vanessa. So again, is Henry in here or not? Because on one hand we have the Ella doll, but on the other hand, he would have been in that photo if he was. Finally, we move on to night.
No, not necessarily. It looks like it's a family photo more than it was a, like, business photo, if you would take it that way. Because it's supposed to prove, oh, Vanessa got the toy. You know what?
5, the final fight. Once again, we get a slight reference to Coming Home, as Chica's the one who leads Abby into the back.
Yeah, it was weird that was Chica was the one to do it.
Room. When the cupcake attacks, it makes a growling noise like a dog. This could be a subtle reference to a fan theory. We know that when Susie was killed, she was lured into the back room with the promise that her dead dog was fine and back there. The fan theory suggests that William Afton is the one that killed Susie's dog in order to lure her back there, and that her dog's ghost moved into the cupcake when she moved into Chica. Foxy cornering Abby in the arcade is an Easter egg for the Silver Eyes again, where the opening
I already mentioned that.
is of Charlie being cornered in the arcade by Foxy. After that, we see the
best part would have been if he was also knocking over the things, but that would have been more difficult to do.
Boy, Springtrap is here, and he looks great, I gotta say. Well, technically, this is still Spring Bonnie, because William Afton is alive and using a actually functioning Spring Bonnie suit. He becomes Springtrap later on. Once we see him, he's defeated in a way that references both the Silver Eyes and the Fourth Closet. A drawing is made that shows the ghosts that William is not who they think he is, and in fact the one who killed them, which references the Fourth Closet. And then, after the spring locks fail on him and he's a twitching corpse on the ground, all the animatronics drag him away while the main characters leave the
building. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That is true. That is part of that story.
Which references the Silver Eyes. Of course, we also get the Easter egg of him saying, I always come back. As well as a reference to the FNAF 3 teaser shot and FNAF 3 ending cutscene of Springtrap twitching alone in a back room. Finally, the credits have a few Easter eggs themselves. We start with the music box version of Toreador March that Freddy plays when you run out of power, and the classic Freddy laugh. And then immediately shift into, you knew it was gonna happen, we all thought it was gonna happen, Five Nights at Freddy's by the Living Tombstone as the main credit song. and it was such a good moment. One of these photos could possibly be a reference to Freddy in space, but that's kind of a reach. Our mid-credits scene we get is of Balloon Boy again jump scaring someone, this time seemingly opening and closing a taxi door and jump scaring Koryak Kenshin. And then some hints into what I think are a sequel, because the credits then continue into the FNAF 2 music box song, and the very end of the credits have the FNAF 2 voice spelling out COMEFINDME, come.
I still thought that's the puppet because that was the original purpose of that voice.
Find me, with again the FNAF 2 music box playing. Part of me wonders, is this an Easter egg, or is there an actual puzzle / ARG hidden in the movie somewhere? I mean, there's 3 jump scares of Balloon Boy, maybe the time codes are some kind of code. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. And that's everything.
Oh, I'll watch this later and give my opinion on that. The intro music is great. It's weird that it's called Foxy Fatality, though. No, it's not a real poster. I can tell you that now because just how Freddy is. Foxy looks a little bit different too. Well, that's it.